Hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Patara with you today. We are at the Nantahala in western North Carolina. We're actually at the Outdoor Center. Today we have a special event that we want to share and bring to you. We're with the North Carolina Trail of Tears Association, and today we are here to commemorate the removal of the Cherokee. We should never forget what happened 180 years ago. At this time, we are also celebrating the 50th anniversary of the National Trails System Act. A lot of information in this pamphlet, a lot of information going on today, so we wanted to make sure that we made it over to share this event with you, because from history, we learn everything. Come along for the sights and sounds and for the beautiful people here at the Nantahala.
I'm Susan Abram. I'm the current president of the North Carolina Trail of Tears Association. We have the National Trail of Tears Association represented here today. And what our purpose is to support the National Park Service in marking, interpreting, and maintaining the historic National Trail of Tears.
Before anything, I just want to repeat the words that Sue said. This is the 50th anniversary of the National Trail System. At the time of our removal, the Cherokees in this area were often referred to as the Mountain Cherokees, or those not as far advanced in civilization. So, but I like to think of them, and I think it's much more appropriate that they should be referred to as the more traditional Cherokees, or even better yet, the keepers of our traditions. And this was borne out 20 years earlier by the treaties that Sue alluded to earlier. There were treaties in 1817 and 1819 that ceded the lands, most of the Cherokee Nation east of here, which included where the town of Cherokee is, but it also included many of our ancient towns, including Catawba, Cowie. But that treaty provided that a Cherokee could elect to take a reservation in the ceded lands and give up their Cherokee citizenship. And many of the Cherokees elected to give up their citizenship, not because they didn't want to be a part of the Cherokee Nation. This would have been very difficult for them, but for the more important purpose of protecting our town sites and our sacred sites, because that is where they took their reservations. So, but unfortunately, North Carolina didn't recognize these, and most of these reservations were already lost by the time of our forced removal in 1838. And many of those Cherokees had moved back into the unceded lands. There's a series of 1842 claims in Oklahoma for property lost in the east, and particularly in Delaware, present Delaware County, Oklahoma, former Delaware District, Cherokee Nation. It's where most of the North Carolina Cherokees had settled. And in these claims, there are all kinds of references. I took a reservation at the town of Cowie, or near where the town of Cowie was. So many of the people that had tried to protect these sites and stay were removed to Oklahoma, and then of course many stayed behind. So I appreciate all that they did in trying to keep our traditions and our traditional towns, our traditional sacred sites. But by their removal, they made it possible for, say, the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma and the Eastern Band of Cherokees to survive here. And that even today, I appreciate the Eastern Band, because they're still continuing to keep our traditions alive, where they've repurchased Catawba in the town of Cowie. So it's continuing even today. So you're still the keepers of our tradition, and I appreciate that.
Shio Nagata. That means howdy, y'all. Well, we're really blessed to have such a beautiful day right here, to be gathered in this place that's called goo.gl. That means the navel place, the belly button place. This is where the Nantahala and Briartown trails intersect. 180 years ago, this was a Cherokee town place. bGJuqS and his cousin, old Charlie, lived right here, just downstream. They were leaders of that town. You're all seated out in Waggie's cornfield, so be careful, be careful. When Andy Jackson's deportation of Cherokee people started here in June of 1838, North Carolina troops came up the river 5.5 miles from Fort Lindsay. They came to take Old Lady Waggie and the other town members away from their homes. They went down to the fort that's down at the Almond Boat Ramp now. And after about a week and a half, they started on a westward exodus that would be the longest journey that any families made on the Trail of Tears. Some of the families at goo.gl refused to leave. When the troops came, they went up in the laurel thickets, up the sides of these ridges here, and stayed until the army left. When federal soldiers came back in October for their federal roundup, final roundup, bGJuqS led a group of 100 back into the laurel hills to hide, and they eluded their pursuers for weeks. They eventually spread out, and finally the soldiers caught up with old Charlie and his family up on Deep Creek, not far from here. When they tried to escape their captors, Charlie and the young men killed 2 of the soldiers in the fray. And that act sparked a massive army manhunt for the killers. Only after they'd caught Charlie, Nantahala, George, Jake, and Lowena and executed them in late November did the removal finally end in these mountains. bGJuqS and the other survivors of goo.gl came out of the laurel, and they joined their kinspeople on Soco Creek in what's now called a boundary before the end of the year. Those from this settlement that the soldiers had taken in June were still on the long road to Oklahoma. They were only halfway there by this point. And so it is that the town of goo.gl was split by removal, some to the east and some to the west, but still all one family, whether they're in Wolftown or Salina. And so it is that we're here at goo.gl today to remember these people in their struggles and ultimately their victories in this place 180 years ago. Thank you.
Shio, Rigotsu. I want to welcome you to our homeland. And I'm always grateful when I have to speak, and if there's any kind of history, if Dr. Riggs is before me, or if Jack Baker's around, if he's before me, because I know that they're going to cover in depth and in detail our history very well. And I'm so grateful for both of these men and their commitment to telling our story. When I think about the majesty of this land, it's full of just the beauty of nature, but it's also full and rich with our story and our culture. And you've heard parts of our story today from Dr. Riggs and from Jack. But I want you to think too about where we are today as a nation. And our story is, as I always say, a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale of when laws and treaties and agreements just become words on paper. That when the people who are tasked and entrusted with enforcing the law and enforcing treaties and ensuring equitable, fair and equitable treatment under the law for everyone don't have the integrity to carry that out. When greed overpowers righteousness, you have what happened to our people 180 years ago. Our story is a reminder that all of us are human beings, created in the image of God, that we all have value, regardless of our race, our color, our creed, our religion, our gender, our sexual orientation. We are human beings first and foremost. And so our story is one of perseverance, ours is one of resilience, ours is one of a people who refused to be destroyed. And we stand today on the shoulders of those who had the courage to stand in the face of oppression. But when I look around here today, I see friends. I see my brothers and sisters who are RTR alumni along with me. That is a journey that once you take will change you forever. And I'm so grateful for you all being here today. I was going to ask you to stand, but that's happened already, and so that kind of took the wind out of my sails on that part of my speech. But also the Trail of Tears Association, members, if you're a Trail of Tears Association member, if you would raise your hand. Thank you so much for preserving our history and telling our story. And thank you for loving my people. And thank you for being there for us when we're on the road. I tell you, when you're on the RTR ride, and it's 95 degrees with 90% humidity in Missouri, or and you stop somewhere and there's a Trail of Tears Association pit stop, and they've got Subway and cold drinks and air conditioning. It's much appreciated. So thank you for being here today. Dr. Riggs, honored that you're here today. You're a friend to the Cherokee people, and it's just always an honor just to be around you, sir. And finally to Matt Tunai. Matt, thank you for being here. Matt is, as you're going to hear in just a moment, a tremendous musician. He is, and I had somebody ask me one time, well, what are you doing for culture? What are you doing for our culture? And I said, the truth of the matter is it's the responsibility of every Cherokee to protect, preserve, and promote our culture. It's not any one person, it's all of us. It's we each individually have a responsibility. And I'm so glad Matt's here because he's doing so much to help preserve our language, to preserve our music. And so I'm glad that he's here as well. I just want to say thank you to all of you who've come out today. I'll keep it brief. I know there's been a lot of speakers here today, but this is a tremendous day and a tremendous opportunity. And our story will be told to folks who perhaps have never even heard of it when they're walking the trails and they see these signs. So thank you to everybody who's had a part in this. We're honored, and thank you on behalf of the Eastern Cherokee Indians. Thank you.